Donald Trump paced a VIP lounge at a small regional airport, hands clasped behind his back. The former president had been scheduled to fly to a rural town for a speech on rebuilding American industry, but a heavy fog delay and a miscommunication with his driver had cost him the flight. He arrived just minutes after the gates closed. His assistant, Mason, looked frantic. "Mr. President, I'm so sorry. The next flight isn't for another 4 hours." Trump exhaled sharply, then surprised Mason by chuckling softly. "Maybe it's a sign," he said. "Sometimes life forces you to slow down." He glanced around the lounge, far from the luxury he was accustomed to. No private jets, no red carpets. Just worn vinyl chairs and a tired-looking coffee kiosk humming in the corner. He took a seat near the window. That's when he noticed her. Across the aisle sat a young girl, maybe 8 or 9 years old. She wore a pink backpack nearly as big as she was and clutched a handmade card in both hands. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying. Trump leaned toward Mason, lowering his voice. "Why is that kid alone?" Mason shrugged, distracted by his phone. "No idea." The girl glanced up. Their eyes met. She offered a weak smile, then looked back down at her card. Something tugged at Trump. Not politics, not business, just something unfamiliar. Curiosity, maybe even compassion. "Hold my calls," Trump said. "I'm going to stretch my legs." He approached slowly, careful not to startle her. "Hey there," he said gently. "Waiting for someone?" The girl nodded. "My mom. She was on a plane. I was supposed to give her this before she left." She held up the card. Crayon letters filled the front. "For the best mom ever." Trump felt his chest tighten. "You missed her?" "She got moved to an earlier flight. I got here too late." He sat beside her. "What's your name?" "Aubrey." "That's a beautiful name." "I'm Donald." She tilted her head. "Like the guy on TV?" He smiled. "Something like that." She hesitated, then held the card toward him. "Do you think there's any way to get this to her?" "Where was she flying?" "Dallas. She's in the military. She only had 2 days off." That hit harder than Trump expected. "I tried to run in," Aubrey added quietly, "but they said it was too late." Trump took a slow breath. "I don't know if we can catch her," he said honestly, "but maybe we can still do something." Her eyes brightened. "Like what?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he stepped aside and pulled out his phone. "This is Donald Trump," he said into the receiver. "I need to know if Flight 472 to Dallas has taken off." A pause. "Yes, sir. About 10 minutes ago." Trump hung up and returned to Aubrey. "We missed her," he said softly, "but maybe we can still get that card where it belongs." Her shoulders slumped. "She's going overseas. She won't be back for months." Trump thought for a moment. "Do you know where she's stationed?" Aubrey dug into her backpack and pulled out a folded letter. "She writes to me every week." Trump read the return address. Fort Sam Houston, Texas. Mason approached. "What's going on?" Trump handed him the card. "This little girl has more courage than most adults I know. Her mom just deployed." Mason blinked. "And we're going to Texas." "Sir, there are no flights." "Then charter one." Aubrey's eyes widened. "You'd really do that?" Trump smiled. "I think your mom deserves to know what kind of daughter she has." Within the hour, a small private plane was airborne. Aubrey sat beside him, the card resting safely in her lap. She traced shapes on the window as the clouds drifted past. "This feels like a dream," she whispered. Trump chuckled. Wasn't planning on it either. She looked at him. "Why are you helping me?" He paused. "I've spent a long time thinking about big things, speeches, power, money. Today, someone small reminded me what really matters." "My mom says big hearts change more than big words," Aubrey said. Trump nodded. "She sounds wise." "She is." They landed near San Antonio and drove onto the base with military clearance. Guards saluted as the SUV passed. An officer met them at the hangar. "You're looking for Sergeant Angela Wells," the officer said. "She's boarding in an hour." Aubrey gasped. "We still have time." She jumped out of the car and ran. A woman in uniform turned just in time to catch her daughter in her arms. "I made this for you," Aubrey sobbed, handing her the card. Angela Wells opened it and cried. Trump stood back, removing his cap. "Sir," Angela said, saluting through tears. "You've got a remarkable daughter," Trump replied. "She reminded me today what real service looks like." Soldiers nearby fell silent, giving the moment space. Later, as Angela prepared to board, Trump knelt in front of Aubrey. "You're a very special girl. I want to help people when I grow up," she said. "You already do." As the plane lifted into the sky, Aubrey saluted. Trump stood beside her, quiet, reflective. He had missed a speech, but found something far more important. Mason looked genuinely surprised. "That's a first." Aubrey's eyes lit up. "Are you serious?" Trump smiled. "As serious as Air Force One. But only if your mom agrees when she comes home. Until then, we'll take care of things." Without hesitation, Aubrey threw her arms around him. This time, Trump hugged her back just as tightly. In that moment, he didn't just see a little girl. He saw a spark, something bright and rare, something the world too often overlooked. And silently, Donald Trump made a vow. He would never again miss a flight of compassion. The private jet touched down in New York just past midnight. Aubrey had fallen asleep mid-flight, curled beneath a blanket, Trump's overcoat draped carefully over her shoulders. Mason carried her through the terminal, while Trump followed a few steps behind, lost in thought. A small team from the Trump Foundation waited nearby. "This is Aubrey Wells," Trump said simply. "Treat her better than you treat me." They nodded, surprised but warm. Trump turned to Mason. "Find her a place near Central Park. Quiet, safe. Make sure there's a window. She likes to draw." Mason blinked. "You're really doing this?" Trump watched as Aubrey stirred, murmuring softly in her sleep. "She gave me something I didn't know I'd lost." "And what's that?" Trump smiled faintly. "Perspective." As they pulled away in another SUV, the night felt lighter somehow. A different kind of morning was beginning to break. The Trump Foundation headquarters buzzed with quiet energy as Aubrey stepped inside, her sketchbook hugged to her chest. The walls weren't lined with power or prestige, but with photographs. Children, families, veterans, moments of lives changed in small but meaningful ways. Trump walked beside her. "This is where we rebuild homes," he said, gesturing to a room filled with blueprints. "That's the food bank division." "So many people helping," Aubrey whispered. "That's the point," he replied. A staff member approached with a letter. "Mr. Trump, this came in today from a military mom." Trump handed it to Aubrey. "Would you like to read it?" She nodded, reading aloud words filled with loneliness, courage, and gratitude. When she finished, her voice softened. "It sounds like my mom." Trump nodded. "That's why you're here. To remind us who we're helping." That day, Aubrey didn't just visit the foundation. She became its heart. The next morning, Aubrey asked for paints. Trump raised an eyebrow. "Planning to redecorate my office?" She giggled. "Kind of." With help from the team, she set up a canvas in a quiet room. Hours passed. When Trump stopped by, she was brushing streaks of gold through a wide blue sky. "What's that?" he asked. "The sky," she said. "And those are the planes. My mom's in one." He noticed a small figure waving from the ground. "And that's me." He pointed to another figure beside her. "And this one," she smiled. "That's you. You helped me wave higher." Trump sat down beside her. For once, words weren't necessary. Later that week, Mason entered holding a phone. "It's Sergeant Wells." Aubrey took it eagerly. "Mom." Trump watched quietly as laughter filled the room. "She's doing great," he told Angela when he took the phone. "We'll take care of her." A pause. "Thank you, sir." When Aubrey whispered, "I miss you," Angela replied, "I'll be home soon, and we'll be stronger than ever." Something shifted deep inside Trump. There were forces greater than elections, louder than crowds. This was one of them. When the story eventually reached the news, Trump agreed to speak on one condition. Aubrey talks first. Under soft lights, She answered every question with honesty. What's it like being with a former president? He's kind, she said. He listens. Trump chuckled. She's not wrong. When asked why he did it, he looked at her. I miss more than a flight. I miss a reminder. The clip spread overnight. But it wasn't Trump who captured hearts. It was Aubrey. One rainy evening, a black SUV arrived. Angela Wells stepped out. Aubrey ran to her, arms wide. They held each other as rain blurred the world around them. Trump watched from the doorway. Thank you, Angela said. Your daughter changed us all, he replied. The morning Aubrey left, Trump handed her a small box. Inside was her painting, professionally framed. So you never forget how high you can wave, he said. Will I see you again? She asked. He knelt. You better. You got foundation meetings now. She laughed. As the SUV drove away, Aubrey pressed her palm to the window. Trump waved back with both hands. Soon after, Trump launched a new program, Wells Rising, support for military families during deployment. When Mason brought him letters from children afraid but trying to be brave, Trump didn't hand them off. He picked up the phone himself. Months later, heading to another flight, Mason said, We're early. Trump looked out the window. Let's walk through the terminal. Sir, might find another Aubrey. He stepped into the corridor where it all began, not searching for cameras, but for quiet moments. A missed flight, a child met, a life change, because sometimes the delay is a destiny.